Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello and welcome to this week's Spunky Spirit episode. I am your host, psychic medium Carrie Muggs, and this week we are going to talk about mediumship myths, or myths of mediumship, like things that people are told or things that people might think about mediums that aren't entirely true or could be true for some. So you have to excuse my voice because I'm just getting over a cold. I had to rearrange some readings last week, and so I'm in that part where the phlegm gets stuck, and so please be patient with me if I sound off or if it sounds weird. So today I noticed that this last couple of months that there's some myths about mediumship. There are lots of mediums on the internet, and each of them, we're all different, right? We all have our different things. And I am so good with that because it's cool, because I don't want us to be all the same. We don't need to be all the same. But in the past, there's been a certain set of rules for that in general every medium follows. But I think some of those are starting to change. And I kind of wanted to touch on some of the mediumship myths that have been going around. The one thing that's really hard for me is when other mediums tell mediums how they should do it, or how they should do readings, or how it should be, because there's a lot of things at play here. When you're a medium first starting out and you don't know some of this stuff, you can make some of those mistakes. So when mediums get on and call out other mediums and say you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that, I think that's hard, because that can make the new medium feel inadequate when in reality they don't know. So just give medium, this is I guess also to give mediums some grace. And I am trying to give some mediums some grace, because there's some mediums that it's so hard because I want to, they just are so, some of them are very, very confident, which I love. I wish I had some of that confidence, but some of them are so cocky. And so it's just hard for me to, if there's a medium that you're following that just doesn't resonate with you, just block it or unfollow. You don't have to block, because nobody is perfect for everybody, right? So if there's something that doesn't resonate with you, unfollow. That's all you have to do, instead of get all angry and all upset. And sometimes I don't get angry and upset. I just think, give some people some grace here. Give some people some, especially new mediums who don't know some of this stuff, because I am here to tell you. And here's another thing too. Another medium out there could disagree with this, and that is fine. The thing that I'm going to do is stand in what I believe and stand in my truth. And I've been doing this for over, I'm coming up on 20 years. And 20 years of readings and doing mediumship work. And I've been to lots of courses, lots of continuing education to help me with my readings, lots of retreats. I've held lots of courses and had retreats. So I kind of know a little bit about what's going on. So I'm just going to give you my opinion though. And I'm also going to tell you that this can change, because spirit, 10 years from now, my opinion could change, because spirit is not like a doctor doing heart procedures, or a doctor doing leg stuff with your feet, a pediatrics doctor. And no, the pediatrics is kids. This stuff changes. We never know the truth 100% all the time. And so this is something that it's not in a box. It doesn't fit neatly in the box. It fits, there's so much of a big scope, and there's so much to it that there can be many, many answers to it, because we don't know all the answers on earth. So I am going to tell you this. No reading ever is 100% accurate. So give your medium some grace, because they're just trying to get information, right? It's like sitting at a table at a restaurant with all of your family, and the medium has to determine who's who. And if all your family's talking at once, we have to figure out what they're saying. We have to put puzzle pieces together. So give your medium some grace. Gone are the days where it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no answers. Because honestly, if you want to get the best out of your reading, you shouldn't have to give the medium any kind of information. But when information does come through, if you were to be, okay, if I were to say, your grandfather's here and he's showing me a train, and you would be like, yep, okay. So, but if, and I could still be like, okay, what were the trains for? Did you work with trains? Did you have toy trains? He says they were model trains. Yep. Okay. But if you go into a mediumship reading and you said, I said, he's showing me trains. He loved them. He loved trains. Then I could be like, okay, why did you love trains? Did you have toy model trains? And then I would see the toy model trains and maybe I would see them around the room. And I would be like, he had model trains around the room. And you would say, yes. And I would be like, why did he love trains? And then I would go deeper into that. But if you just sit there and say, yes, no, a medium still can go deeper. But if you want to enjoy the reading and get the best feeling out of it too, explain a little bit. You don't have to give a bunch of details. You don't have to be like, yes, he was an engineer. He worked at the train tracks from 1950 to 1952, and he was this and this. You don't have to give all the details. And you don't have to be like, yes, he loved toy trains. He had tons of models. They were all over his room. You don't have to do that stuff. But honestly, the yes or no things, that's kind of it. It's just going to intimidate, or it's just going to make the medium feel like more like hold the frequency more. If you're more open, or you're more open to receiving, because you have to remember the medium's just getting bits and tiny pieces of a big puzzle that they're trying to put together. And sometimes they can mess up. They can. I've had I think Tony Stockwell has always said, you're only as good as your last reading, right? So there's good readings and there's bad readings. And some of the ones that I consider bad for me may not be bad for the sitter, because I know I'm supposed to be at a certain frequency and I get frustrated that I didn't get more information in. But to the sitter, they got exactly what they needed, right? So never doubt spirit. Never doubt spirit. And honestly, if you're in a reading and you're in it to 10 or 15 minutes and nothing's resonating with you, be honest. Just be like, this really isn't working. And you can either, decide with the medium what they say, but you can, most mediums, if you get into it 10 or 15 minutes and they're like, they can kind of tell on their own that it's not working, and they might be like, hey, you know what, you might want to reschedule for a time that maybe I can kind of commit better, or I can kind of have a higher frequency. Yeah, just kind of read your reading if it's not, but don't expect the medium to come through with like specific stuff. Like your son comes through, he was 2 years old, he had blue hair, blind. I mean, that stuff's okay, but you have to be open, because some mediums will come through with that stuff, and some mediums will come through with like, I'm seeing blue eyes, I'm seeing blonde hair. It's not going to be da 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 da. It's going to be little bits and pieces of a puzzle that you're both trying to put together. So it's your job to try and put together the pieces, right? Or the medium put together the pieces. But if, like one time, there's some readings that are like, there's somebody with the name, I think Jonna or John. They're like, nope. And then 2 or 3 minutes down the road, I'm like, there's Jonna names coming up. No, I have a daughter whose name's Johanna, but not Jonna. That's too hard, you guys. Be kind, give the medium some grace. That's how it comes through for them. That's how they hear it. So don't be so straight and narrow or rigid that you can't be flexible, right? Now, one of the myths is that you have to wait 6 months after a loved one's passed. You have to wait 6 months before you can book a reading. It depends on the medium. That's not true for everybody. That's not true for me. Now, my schedule is booked out 6 to 8 months. So that's how it would work, unless you get one of my express readings, which you can get in within the month. Or if you get a group reading, you can get in within the month. But if you are getting your own reading and somebody passes, some mediums want you to wait 6 to 8 months, not because they can't. It used to be thought that they couldn't communicate with your loved one. That's not true. Lots of mediums are finding out that they can connect to their loved ones. You can connect to their loved ones immediately. So I'll have somebody who will schedule an appointment 8 months out, And 2 weeks before they come, or 1 week before they come, one of their loved ones pass, and I still can connect to that person, that loved one. So that's not entirely true. I think what happens is sometimes the mediums, they're so when you go to a reading, it takes the medium, the spirit, and the sitter to hold a certain frequency. So you're all holding a frequency to connect to your loved one, right? If you're in a huge amount of grief and you're mad and you're in the anger stage, or you're in the depression stage, it can be a little harder for you to hold up that end of the frequency. But a lot of times the spirit and the medium can hold up that frequency for you. So if you feel like you want to see a medium beforehand, I would just check with the medium and see if you can schedule before the 6 months thing. With me, you can schedule at any time. It doesn't, if you want to schedule, I'm anytime. You don't have to wait 6 months, because I've been in readings where the people have passed within a week or even a day or two, and that grief, I can hold that grief, and the spirit can hold that grief, and or I've just been really blessed with the sitters who can hold their frequency that high. So for me, it's not a problem, but you might want to check. And that doesn't mean I'm better than other mediums. It just means that they run different. They just run differently, and they connect differently. So just check with that medium and see if that's something that they do. The next one is, am I always connected? Because sometimes people are scared of me when I go to different places around town, or they don't want to talk to me because they think I can see there are people right there. I used to when I was younger, and I didn't know how to control my gifts. Now I know how to work it. I know how to control it. So their frequency's here, ours is here. During a reading, they lower theirs and I raise mine. I am not in that high of a frequency 24/7. Once the reading is over, we change. We go back. I disconnect and we go back. So I am not in that high of frequency all the time. I go home immediately and I ground. I go eat something, or I use my grounding mat, or I watch a stupid sitcom most of the time, like Big Bang Theory or Modern Family. So I'm not walking around the store being constantly in that frequency, right? But sometimes if your spirits don't know boundaries, if I'm just walking around in my normal frequency, they can lower their frequency enough to get to me, or enough to talk to me. And some spirits can be aggressive enough to do that. But I kind of hold some boundaries that don't let them, but sometimes they will still get through, and that's okay. So, but sometimes I'll just kind of ignore them because I'm not in a reading. I'm getting to the point now where the spirits that come to me know that the time is during the reading. When I did readings in my house, my office in my house was across the hall from my bedroom, and they would be in my bedroom a lot. My bedroom was like freezing all the time. My husband would be like, "We got to get you an office," because they would be there waiting. Now that I have my own office, I can feel the spirits when I walk in the morning, and I'm just like, "Hi, everybody. It's going to be a great day." They're going to set that intention. So, because sometimes the spirits come a little early because their time is off, like their time frequency or they're just so excited, right? So just know that my energy is not always on. I can't always tap into something 24/10, but I will tell you this. In some of my courses, in some of my readings, in some of my courses that I've taken in the past, they have said you shouldn't do readings for friends or family. So for a long time, I didn't. And I had a family locally, and I've talked about them before, so I'm sure that they won't care. The Olsons, their son came and got a reading from me, and then 2 weeks later, he passed in an automobile accident. And they came and got readings from me. And at first, it was great, but I kept getting nervous that if they kept getting more readings from me, I wouldn't have any new evidence to come through, or I wouldn't be able to do the readings, because they started to become my good friends. And because of this, I would not really be friends with my clients, because I wouldn't want to taint the readings, or I want to always want new information, right? And if I was friends with my clients, then new information wouldn't come through. This was not true. Ryan showed me that he can bring new information in all the time. He can bring me in information of what they've done that day. He can bring me information of what's going on in their lives, how he's playing a part in it, what he's doing now, who they've talked to, what's going on. He can bring in all of those specifics. So now I don't worry about giving readings to friends and family because I know that the spirits that come through sent them to me, and they will give me the specifics I need and the messages that their family needs to hear. And I did readings. If you haven't, if you follow me, you've already heard this story, but I did readings for my family. I did little yearly readings for my family, and it came through in one of my daughter's readings that she was going to get engaged. And the fiance was like, nope, no way, no way. Then he came back 2 days later and said, I've had this planned forever and you almost ruined it. And I also had that night, did a reading for my daughter-in-law, and it came through that she was pregnant. And she's like, nope, not pregnant. She went home, took a pregnancy test, she was pregnant. So I can give readings to my family and my friends. Some now it taint it because I'm their mom? Sometimes, yes, so I have to be really careful. But some mediums are like, you can't do that. And I'm like, yes, you can. So just depends on the medium. Just depends on the medium, right? So now I do create relationships with my clients, because I used to really be offish about making friendships with my clients. And now I totally love my clients and have very many clients that are my friends, because I know that when they come, new information will come through and new stuff that they need will come through. So it's actually really kind of cool. See, so even as a medium, you learn things. You can go to classes and learn these things, but honestly, it's a trial and error thing, and it's a lot of stuff that you just learn along the way. So we already talked about the yes or no answers. Be open. If it's okay to be a skepticism, but if you do not believe in it and you're a cynic and you are going to prove the medium wrong, just don't go. Just don't go, because more than likely the medium's just going to be like, you're out. If I had somebody sitting across from me and they were like this, and everything I said, they were like, no, 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 I'd be like, we're done. We're done here. Because I have those boundaries, right? And if you're just trying to come prove me wrong, I don't need you here. And so you're out. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's true. Skeptics are different, because skeptics can be moved. Skeptics, something can come through and they can be like, this is different. But cynics, they're out, done. The one where you can't change their mind. I'm not here to try and change your mind. I'm here to help people connect to their loved ones, to have closure, and to have healing. If that's not what's happening, I'm done. Okay? Now, the next one too is, I read somewhere a medium had said that she asks for names during readings because she doesn't want bad spirits to come through, which is totally fine. But I want you to know that if you go to a medium and they don't ask for names, it doesn't mean bad spirits are coming through. It does not mean that. It means that medium can connect without asking for a name. That medium can connect and connect to your loved ones without asking for a name. Some mediums go in and they like to ask for a name. And some mediums, I like to ask what your intentions are at the beginning, what your intentions are for the reading. I say, without telling me any information or who's on the other side, what do you want to get out of this reading? Do you want to communicate to you at the other side? Or do you want to get something do you want to know about something in your life, your career, your family, your love life? And if they say both, I say, great. Hybrids are my favorite, because most of the time your loved ones come in and they give me information about you and tell you how they're watching over you, and they give you guidance. And that's another thing too, guidance. Your ancestors and guides can come through and guide you, but they cannot make decisions for you. So if there's somebody coming through telling you need to do certain things, you have your free agency, you have your free will, you get to decide. Okay. So now that specific medium, I kind of think led to, I can't remember, but I think it led to she asked for their names because if she doesn't, she thinks they're bad. That is not true either. That could be what she was taught. That could be what she is experiencing, but that's not my experience. My experience is you shouldn't have to ask a medium. You don't have to give any information to a medium at all. But I do know that some mediums like to have a little bit of the name of your ancestor, and I will. So because of time constraints, not because I can't connect. But if a whole bunch of people come through the reading and we're at 10 minutes before, and I say, okay, If there's somebody that hasn't come through that you want to talk to, you can say their name. And most of the time I can connect, sometimes I can't. I don't do that because I can't connect. I do that because there's somebody specific that they want to talk to, and other people are keep coming through. And I'm picking up the other, because I have no control over who's coming through. So if they have a great grandfather that they want to talk to, but their little childhood friend is coming through first, then I talk to the childhood friend who is ever the loudest. So if they say their name, I can connect to that name and to that frequency. Same with, like, if you listen to your loved one's voice or music, or you connect into their frequency. And so that's probably what that medium is doing, is just trying to connect to their frequency. And it doesn't make it bad, because if all you give that medium is a name and they can come up with other details, it's good. It's good, right? Like, it's great. But I know some mediums are just like, no, you tell them absolutely nothing. And that's fine too. It's just how you choose to work with your medium. Okay. It's all about you and what you want to do and how you want to experience it. I did have a friend of mine when we went to Sedona, and she went and got a reading, and the reader was like, who do you want to connect to today? And she was kind of frustrated that she had to say that, to say, I want to connect to my grandpa. But that's just how some mediums work, right? They just have to have that connection, because one of the hardest things to do as a medium when a spirit comes through is to figure out how they're related or how they are. So sometimes I'll be like mother type figure, mother like, close. So it just is, and it just kind of defeats that medium is just kind of getting past that bar, so she can go straight into details. So don't give up if your medium does ask you for a name of the person or a relationship. Just continue, see if more specifics come through. Now, if they do that and other specifics are coming through as well, consider the personality of the person. If the person was a super shy person on earth and didn't talk much, that's how they're going to be with your medium. So be aware of that. That your people are going to have the same personalities. Okay. The next one is, just remember, there is no set way. There is no set way for any reading to go down. And I was taught, when because I had the gift and I wanted to like figure out what the signs and symbols meant, and I was wanting to like organize what was coming through. So I did take some classes, and some of them are great, and some of them are like, this is how you do it. You do this first, then this first, and then this comes through. And I was like, that is not how I do it. That's not how I do it. I don't do mediumship first and then I do psychic. My people come through and then they tell me all about you and tell me what's going on in your life. It's combined. It's like a hybrid for me. So I didn't change the way I did it because that's what my teacher said. I just decided I'm going to do it my way. Every medium's going to be different. They're going to do it their way. In the olden days, when you would go to a mediumship demonstration, the spirits would come through and they would move tables. They would knock on the walls. And with the Fox sisters, that's the very first thing that came through, is the spirits would knock on the walls. And they would like test these girls all the time and see if there's any knocking or any noises with their knees or their body parts and all of that stuff too. And then table raising, the mediums would table raise, and then they would have seances, and there would be ectoplasm. That was a long time ago. And now, then it kind of got to where that the evidence was the day they died, or what they looked like, or how many kids, or evidence was like that. But nowadays with the internet, you can find that information out pretty easily. And so now the information's kind of changed to like their personality, because you don't know that. You can't research that. Their details about what's going on in your life, details about what went on in their life, like details nobody would know. Those are the things that come through now. And birthdays and stuff are great, especially because if it's like the sitter's birthday, there's no way that the medium's going to know that. The medium might know if they researched it and looked at some sort of paper or article or whatever, they could find that stuff out. So nowadays, what some older mediums would consider psychic is actually evidence. So what I mean by psychic is when people read people, and mediumship is when you connect to the other side. So a lot of times spirits will come through and say she's having a baby. and it's going to be a girl. Well, a lot of mediums are like, well, that's psychic. You're tuning into that psychically. Well, no, you're not. Not if the spirit is telling you that. The spirit's telling me that a baby's coming. He's sending down a baby and it's going to be a girl. That's different. And those are the type of things that people want to hear, because that lets them know that their loved one in spirit is still with them without any doubt. So I just kind of wanted to dispel some of the medium myths, because there are mediums out there, and I try not to, because everybody's different, but there are mediums out there telling other mediums how it works. And I get that. I do, because there are some mediums out there that don't have integrity, and that are trying to just make money and not try and heal people, or just trying to show how great they are, how good they are at it. And I don't love that. And so I get it when other mediums try and call them out and say things like, mediums shouldn't do this and mediums shouldn't do that, to like warn, the sitters or the audience. But at the same time, sometimes they just don't know. Sometimes these mediums are just starting out and they don't know that they're not supposed to do that, or that's not the ethical way to do it. I remember when I first started going through all of my stuff and I did a drive-by reading, I went up to a lady and said, this is so-and-so's here. And it was all accurate and it worked out at the end okay. But it was hard because she wasn't ready for it. I just went up to her and was like, I think there's someone around you, blah, blah, blah. Because that's what I saw, on Teresa Caputo. And so that's what I did. And it's not really ethical. It's not really ethical. And so, because that person might not be ready for a reading. And I remember losing so much sleep over that and learning my lesson the hard way. And, if back then, if I would have been on the internet and another medium would be like, you're not supposed to do this, it would have devastated me and I probably would have stopped. So just be kind and be careful. And when you do get information from other mediums, just take what resonates with you, and just know there are no rules. There's no rules on how this works. None. Because it is spirit you're dealing with, and it's spirit, and it's not set in stone. And 10 years from now, I could be doing another podcast and I could be on there going, okay, we found out a lot more information and this is how it works. But right now, we're just kind of like putting our feet in the water and we're all trying to do our best. And so just, if you are going to a reading, or you are becoming a medium, or you are watching other mediums, take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't, because some of it's true and some of it's not. And some of it may be true for you and some of it may be not true for you. And some of it may be true for you and something may work for you and not work for me. So everybody's different. And this is why when you pick out a medium, go to somebody who people, word of mouth, people have been to, people have experienced, they know. And then if that wasn't so great, try another one. There's always they're like doctors. You can get second opinions. You don't have to go, you know what I mean? So, and if you find one that you like and you want to stay loyal to them, because they like you too, I'm pretty sure. So I hope that helps you guys. It doesn't infuriate me. It just makes me sad when I see other people, on the internet telling people how it should work or how it shouldn't work, or how this. And if you've had a bad experience with a medium too, just know it might have been a bad day for that medium. The one thing I don't love, though, this is the one thing I don't love, is I did have a client that went to another medium and her son didn't come through for that medium. And that medium did say that her son was mad at her. And I don't love that, because spirits don't come through because they're mad at you. It's honestly 100%. If a spirit doesn't come through for me, it's because I messed up somewhere. Even yesterday, I think Friday, I was doing a reading and she said, what about my baby sister? And I said, I did see a miscarriage, but I knew you didn't have any children. So I bypassed it. That is my fault. And I messed that up. And it wasn't because that sister didn't want to come through and I didn't want to blame the child. If you tell a mother that their child doesn't want to come through because they're mad at them, that is going to devastate her. And I'm hoping that this person is okay that I'm sharing this. I'm pretty sure it's okay, because nobody knows any names. But if your medium tells you that your person is mad at you, I would definitely then find a different medium, because spirits they don't really carry the anger. The only time I've ever seen spirits carry the anger is if they've been murdered. They really don't carry, they just want justice is all, right? They want justice. And so, but if you've had a fight or if something, they don't carry that with them. They watch their life review and they look at that and they know why you said the things you said, why you did the things they did, and they see why they did because they see the bigger picture. They know that maybe you had a really hard day, or they see why, clear back to when they were 3, clear back why you did that when you were 3 years old, why it triggered you then. They see all that and they pretty much can just let it go. It's like water under the bridge. And if it's something that they haven't let go, they'll tell me, we'll figure it out on the other side. But they don't come through mad. They don't come through and say, no child is going to come through mad at the mom. Especially a good mom, like a mom that wants to see her child. If the mom maybe murdered the child, maybe. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I've never experienced it, so I don't know. So that's a hard one. Just don't. That's hard for me to know that those are the things. Just don't ever think that a spirit doesn't come through because they're mad at you. Because I've never, ever run across that. Now, in 5 years, I might change my mind. I might be like, yeah, I guess they can get mad. But right now, I've done 20 years worth of readings and I've never seen it. And I do 3 readings every day. So I don't know. We'll see. But don't, if somebody tells you, if a medium tells you that that person's mad at you, go to another medium and get a second opinion. Really do it, because it's not all entirely true. So I hope that helps you guys. I hope that helps with your readings. I hope that helps if you're a medium. I hope that it just helps you. I just want you to know that you are amazing and you're good. And so people are just doing the best they can every day, right? In everything, in every situation. So, and there are, just like there are bad doctors and there are bad dentists, there's going to be some bad mediums. And so, and I don't mean like bad because they're not trying. I mean, their intentions are because they want to prove how great they are. They want money, or it's not to heal. So just watch that. But I love you guys so much, and I will come up with some more groups. We have a lot going on this summer. I have a baby that's due, like I told you about, and a wedding. I told you about those. And and we are redoing our kitchen. Our house is 20 years old and we're redoing our kitchen. It's kind of a mess. So I have an event that's in July, I think July 18th, but it got sold out super fast. So I'm going to probably create another one right after it, probably the 1st of August. And also too, I have a manifesting course class coming up June 27th, and it is in-house. It is, so if you're in the Idaho Falls area, you can come. I'm going to teach all about manifesting and manifesting and creating things that you love and that you desire and what you want, and how that works for you. So I love you guys so much, and I want you to remember that you have everything that you need inside of you, okay? I want you to always remember that, because you are the bomb.com. So I love you guys, and I will see you next week.